You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. We're ripped and we're ready. This is the Superhuman Channel, where brawn and brains finally meet. This is the Superhuman Channel, doing reps with the weight of the world. Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
And your co-host, Alisa Profumo. Today is Friday, the last Friday of the month. It means it's Casual Friday. And I'm joined by Lisa. Can you move your camera down a little and bring your head up just a tiny bit? At least there we go. Perfect. Everybody waits all month long for Casual Friday to see and hear Alisa and also discuss some of the crazy stuff we're going to be talking about today. How are you, Alisa?
I'm doing great. How are you?
You want to tell the audience about all the pre-show stress? Because cameras don't work. The browser's not cooperating.
The internet goes down. A little bit of stress.
I don't think people have any idea. So the internet goes down in my studio every day between 10 and 1 o'clock. And I've been trying to get Spectrum to fix the problem. They've had guys come out. They've tested this. They do this. And actually, I'm thinking about getting fiber optic. The building is ready for fiber optic, and I'm thinking of bringing fiber optic in because they guarantee this won't happen with fiber optic. I find it hard to believe, but I'm going to give it a shot. But every day before the show starts, I sweat bullets. Like, will the show actually start on time? Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, it is amazing for sure. So
we have to thank our title sponsor first.
Okay.
Why don't you say who they are? Who are they?
Legendary Foods. Their new red velvet tasty pastry is amazing.
Isn't it? And it's a new cake style, which is fluffier and flakier than the old tasty pastry, which was more like a Pop-Tart and had a more hard pastry crust. This is just delicious. They're introducing like 3 or 4 new flavors right now, like that are going to be coming out. They're amazing. 20 grams of high quality, high leucine protein. 5 net carbs, less than 1 gram of sugar. SHR10 is the code to use to save 10% off, and go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary to buy them. Now, if you're somebody who's a cheapskate and you don't want to spring and spend a buck, you can take a shot at trying to win a box. Every day we put a secret word in the show during the commercial breaks. When you hear the secret word, email it to onair@superhumanradio.net and you're entered to win. And by the way, a lot of you are emailing me and say, hey, I haven't gotten them yet. We have been inundated with people that we have promised to get boxes of tasty pastry to. And I'm doing my best to get all of the addresses over to Legendary Foods. So please be patient. This is my fault. And everybody who was promised a free box will get a free box, I promise. People take that stuff seriously. When you tell somebody they won something, they're like, hey, Carl, I haven't gotten it yet. Did you get my address? I'm like, yeah, I got it. I'm working on it. I promise.
I don't think I don't win much. I mean, I haven't won much in the way of anything. How about you?
I don't win. In fact, when I was a kid, we went to the Nativity Bazaar and they had this puppet in a box. Did I tell you this story?
No.
And so, they spin the wheel, you put a dime in the number and you get to pick from this level, that level, that level. And I think my father dropped like $15. This is back in the 60s when $15 was more like maybe 50. Trying to win that damn thing for me. I wanted it so bad. And so finally, he told my mother to take him for a walk. And then they had me come back and play one more time, and lo and behold, I won.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
You know what he did? So he goes to the guy. He goes, how much you want for that? The guy says, like $5. My father gave him $5, says, let the kid win. I came back and I won. And then later on, I learned the story. He says, I could have bought it for $5. It ended up costing me $20.
Oh,
15.
that's
I lost
funny.
the 5 that I paid for, but that's the only thing I think I've ever won, to be honest with you.
Well, speaking of winning, Tom Brady sure has won a lot. I'm telling you.
They don't like that, do they? Why is
I,
it that
I,
people don't like Tom Brady?
I've been trying to figure that out because I think he's amazing. He's an amazing athlete, and people love to hate him. It's really strange to me. He's won, what's that, 7 Super Bowls now? He's 43 years old. He's an amazing athlete. He's in amazing shape, and people want to dog him. Why is that?
I don't know. It's an interesting phenomenon because don't forget, early on they said, "Oh, it's not him; it was his coach." Who was his coach back then?
Belichick.
Yeah,
from New England. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he left that team and went to another team and brought them to the Super Bowl, and now he's with yet another team, and he's just
no. This is his second team, the Buccaneers.
Okay.
Yeah, but still, they won again.
It's him. It's him. The bottom line is, it's him, not his coach.
Exactly. So I mean, he's 43 years old, and he won. He handedly, or not he and his team handedly won the Super Bowl this year.
Right.
And that seems like a long time ago. I mean, it was just a few weeks ago, but doesn't it seem like a long time ago that they won the Super Bowl?
You know why that is? Because there was literally zero fanfare. Like,
I know.
Usually when a team wins a Super Bowl, their city goes berserk. They're flipping cars and burning sofas on the street, and the news is going, "Oh, everybody is so excited about such and such team win." Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl, it's like crickets. Like, oh yeah, okay.
You don't hear anything about it.
Nothing. So the media hates him too, that means.
Obviously. So I was pretty curious about him, though, because he's 43 years old, and we all heard of his diet and his lifestyle. I mean, he lives in, was it Tampa now? So he's down in the sunny climate, which is where I know you want to be, Carl. So I did a little digging into what he eats on a daily basis. And I think he wrote that book a few years ago, and he was a little stricter with his diet than he is now. But it says he wakes up, and he's first thing he does is drink electrolyte water. He eats eggs and avocado for breakfast. He consumes an astounding amount of liquid, so they say, 12 to 25 glasses a day, which is not that much for our audience. I mean, 96 ounces is 12 glasses, and we try to drink a gallon of water a day. There you go, drinking your water. So 128 ounces is a gallon. So
right.
That's what we try. But and that is a lot of water. But I can tell you, when I drink that much water, which I've been trying to do lately, I can tell a difference in my skin and how dry, if I'm dry or not. There's a huge difference.
Yeah, and a lot of women will spend thousands of dollars on lotions and creams to get rid of fine wrinkles in their skin. And if they just drank more water for about a week, they'd see a lot of those fine wrinkles go away for free.
It really is. It's amazing. I went and had a facial done this week. I mean, I do those things, right?
Yeah.
And the esthetician asked me, "What do you do for your skin?" She wanted to know what my skin routine was, and she was the esthetician. And really, it's not. I mean, topically, I know it has something to do with creams and all that, but it's what you put into your body also. You know, right. How much water you drink or whatever.
In fact, I think the next Casual Friday in March, because women who watch the show have repeatedly asked, like, what do you do? What's your regimen? And we were going to try to touch on it today, but the reality is that your regimen covers not only the product you use, the diet, the supplements, and as you point out, the water. So we've decided it's going to take about a half of a show to cover each of these things.
Right. So what I was thinking we'd do is we'd cover, so we'll cover the hair. We were going to do hair loss today, but I thought we'd include that into the next month's show, and add in some anti-aging elements to that, be it hormones or whatever it is that we discuss, included with diet, because let's face it, what you put into your body is going to affect the outer appearance. So
Alisa gets so mad at me because if you saw my skin, you would think that I was a reptile because my skin is so dry and it literally looks like, when the desert dries out and it has those big crevices and cracks where the dirt kind of looks like it's stuck in a square and then you have this big crevasse and then there's another square. That's how my skin looks right now because I don't take care of my skin. And I really need to start taking care of it because I'm at that age now where it's going to start getting stretchy and crepey and messed up looking. But I think guys really need to pay attention to what you say more than girls because girls get it. Women get it. Am I allowed to say girls and women anymore? Anyway,
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Women get it. Like they like women know to take care of their skin. Guys are like, well, I took a shower with Ivory soap. Isn't that enough? It's like, no, it's really not.
No, you really do need to hydrate your skin from the inside out. But anyway, so just back to Tom Brady a little bit. I was reviewing his daily schedule. One of the things that he does that he incorporates into his workout is pliability and stretching. And I think that that's missing from a lot of our routines. Is the stretching. And as we age, we need that stretching and pliability.
Yeah, we lose mobility as we age because tissue starts tightening up. Yeah, I agree with you.
It helps with blood flow. And so, yeah, I think he's discovered the secret. I mean, 43 is still young, though, let's face it. When you're 60, 43 looks pretty young.
And that's why I piss a lot of people off when I say I don't take any anti-aging advice from anybody that's under 60, because a switch flips around 60, 61, 62, maybe 58, 59 for other people. It switch flips, and all of a sudden you're like, what the F is going on? Like, I mean, it's just like all of a sudden your body changes. And you can't understand this, but someday one of you will turn 60 and be like, what's going on? And then you go, oh, Carl talked about that a long time ago. It's the God's honest truth.
It is. And if you're not doing everything right, then I mean, you have to do everything right. You have to, that 80-20 rule. If you're not doing 80% of it right, then you're screwed.
So what about Tom Brady? We know that we've discussed his diet in the past. He stays away from nightshades because he believes, and a lot of people believe now, that they are a poison. There is a poisonous form of nightshade that they used to kill people with. Tomatoes,
mushrooms.
Well, he stays away from fungi. So he stays away from nightshades. He stays away from fungi. He stays away from a lot of things that people feel are quote unquote healthy. What about his use of electrolytes?
He just uses electrolytes every morning. That's the first thing he does to rehydrate his body, is just using electrolytes. Interesting to me, he's really big on recovery, meditation, meditation for less stress, but also he has recovery pajamas. He partnered with Under Armour. And so he has pajamas that are supposed to be helping with recovery. I mean, I don't know
how. Like, do they increase blood move? Like okay, so at night, all the lymph fluid, because of gravity, starts to move down, and you want it to move back up. Maybe it does something like that, or does it gently massage?
According to Under Armour, the technology works like this: the body is a source of energy similar to a light bulb. It gives off heat. So the print on the inside of the pajamas captures the heat and reflects it back onto the body.
Interesting.
They're called it's the far infrared rays. Say that 10 times.
Yeah, far infrared rays. It reflects back to your body.
Mm-hmm. Which is an interesting technology. I'd like to have them, but they're $200. Like, who can afford those?
I happen to have the original pair of recovery pajamas. I don't talk about it because I don't want to give away my secret.
What do you have?
The ones with SpongeBob on them. My SpongeBob pajamas. They make me feel like a kid, so I recover faster.
Oh, yeah. I love SpongeBob.
Yeah. People
aren't allowed to watch SpongeBob anymore because he came out.
Yeah. He came out that he's gay.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him. I hope him and Patrick Star are a thing.
I hope so too. So yeah, good on. Oh, hi, Derek.
My Italian
So
brother from another mother.
good for Tom Brady. I'm glad he won.
Yeah, good for him is right.
All right. So what's up with Bill Gates today?
So I just found out, I queried, and Bill Gates secretly was nominated king of the world. I didn't even get a chance to vote.
How did that happen?
He used his computer system to generate votes, and he is now king of the world.
So he just wrote a new book, and someone interviewed him for that new book, and this is what he said. So I don't think the poorest 80 countries will be eating synthetic meat. I do think all rich countries should move to 100% synthetic beef. You can get used to the taste difference and the claim is there's going to make it taste even better. They're going to make it taste even better over time. But he said that the green premium is modest enough that you can sort of change the behavior of people or use regulation to totally shift the demand. So they're going to regulate us to eat synthetic beef.
Yeah, they're going to try to convince the people they can convince, and the ones they can't convince, they're going to create regulation. But meanwhile, the name of the restaurant is Dick's. It's not calling Bill Gates a Dick's. So I just want to be clear about this image you're looking at, because he is a dick. He stands like my old Uncle Jimmy, you know, like he's going to fall out of his ass any second. He's leaning back so far. But here he is, being a dick, waiting in line at Dick's Deluxe Hamburgers, where they serve real hamburgers from real cows. And this is an example of the elite in America today.
This photograph was just taken in January.
Right.
And this is February, and he's telling us that we need to be eating 100% synthetic beef. Meanwhile, it's okay for him to go stand at Dick's and get a burger. And evidently he and his wife eat burgers all the time, and they love them. And then
they're both Dick's lovers. They're both Dick lovers, Dick's lovers.
It shocks me, but it shouldn't. I guess he and his wife Melinda have also been spotted at other burger joints around Seattle too. So this is not just a one-time thing.
Don't forget, he's now the chief scientist for America. Even though he has no science background, he's not a doctor, he knows nothing about medicine, but he is now dictating science when it comes to vaccines and populations.
I wanted to try and find, I have a quote from someone that if you just bear with me for a second, I want to read it to you.
I'm going to vamp while you look for that.
I got it right here.
Okay.
It's weird how the media is like, don't listen to those doctors giving a press conference about hydroxychloroquine. And then they're like, yo, medical advice from this wealthy businessman with no medical background because he sells computer operating systems.
Well, and let's be honest about something. He recently said that Bitcoin is inefficient because it uses so much power.
Bitcoin uses more electricity than any method known to mankind, is what he said.
Now think about this. This is the guy whose dream it was for every household to have a personal computer. Remember this now, number one. And guess what the backbone of Bitcoin is? It's called the blockchain. These are a series of computers that talk to each other. Most of them are probably running his software, and most of them probably are developed and sold where he's making money on it. This guy, this is the standard today. Nancy Pelosi, you can't go get your hair done, but I can. The same thing with the mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot. All these people telling us what we have to do, but they don't do it. This is what is happening in America today. We have a small group of people, minuscule, less than 1%, 1/10 of 1% of America, telling everybody else what they need to do, but they don't have to do it because, Bill Gates is telling people that I'm talking about green energy and save the planet. Meanwhile, Alisa, Do you have that information about he has a private jet? He goes everywhere in. He has a home that has 16 friggin' kitchens. Think about it.
He has 24 bedrooms. He has an artificial stream in his yard.
It has to be powered. Keep in mind that you got to use power because it's not a real stream. It's a closed system. But doesn't he have 16 kitchens in that house?
Yeah, I'm going to find that information right now.
But here's the point. When he's asked about how wasteful of energy he is as one person on this planet, he says, well, I spend a lot of money on developing green things that are going to help the planet. And I also offset my carbon footprint by paying extra. And, oh, I get it. So let me get this straight. Because you have the money, you can shit on the planet, but I can't. This, folks, if you're not enraged by this type of hypocrisy, and it's all around us, everybody knows someone high up that thinks this way. If you're not enraged by this kind of hypocrisy, then you've either become numb to it or there's something wrong with you because you're enabling these people to get away with this bullshit, this attitude. Did you find it?
Oh, yeah, I'm looking for it. Sorry.
Remember Al Gore?
Yeah, Al Gore lives in a mansion and flies around in a private jet also.
Yeah, but he's telling everybody else that they need to walk to school and ride their bikes to work and shut their thermostat off and keep their house at 46 degrees to save the planet.
Okay, so he lives in a house with 6 kitchens, 24 bedrooms, a swimming pool, a 10-car garage, 6 cars, and an artificial stream, and he flies around in his own private jet.
Right. So he is the biggest polluter, single individual polluter. He probably creates pollution that 20 families don't create. But it's okay for him because he's a billionaire. He
says, I'm offsetting my carbon emissions by buying clean aviation fuel and funding carbon capture and funding low-cost housing projects to use electricity instead of natural gas.
So in other words, if I decided to finance 5 or 6 families and pay their bills for them and help them send their kids to college, and I just want to kill one of them every now and then, it's okay because I'm financing 26. I just want to kill one once in a while. What's the big deal? This is the logic. I know people like to call that's absurd. No, this is the logic. This is the logic he applies when he's telling you how you should live your life.
What is that saying? What is good for thee is not good for me.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, exactly. And here's another interesting thing about it. Hold on. I want to find this. So this was just published in the New York Times. Now, I'm not implying anything. All I'm saying is we need to be a little bit more speculative of Uncle Bill. Bill Gates met with Jeffrey Epstein many times despite his past history of sexual misconduct. Bill Gates, this was on MSNBC. Bill Gates repeatedly met with Jeffrey Epstein after he was being pursued. And here, look, New York Times reported that Gates met with Epstein on multiple occasions, starting in as early as 2011, just a few years after he had already pleaded guilty to soliciting prostitution from minors. Epstein also met employees from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, according to the New York Times. Now, some people say, oh, well, big deal. You know, what does it mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means. You and I have to be worried about pulling into anything by association. Oh, I'm not going to let that guy over my house. I don't want people to think I know him. But Bill Gates has so much money. He figures, they can't do anything to me because I'll just wiggle my wallet and they'll all step into line. So these are the people that are telling us the vaccine is safe and we need to stop eating real meat. Keep in mind that real meat, cows, are only responsible for 3.3% of all greenhouse gases. Think about that for a second. They want to do away with red meat. What's the real reason? Well, it's not because of greenhouse gases.
Termites cause methane. I mean, the deer do. Wild animals do. Why are they picking on cows?
Yeah. There's a reason for it. I'm telling you, because everything that they do makes us sicker and sicker and sicker. Think about that.
The richest 1% of the world's population are responsible for more than twice as much carbon pollution as the 3.1 billion people who make up the poorest half of humanity during a critical 25-year period of unprecedented emissions growth. So basically, the richest 1% of the population are the ones who
are polluting the planet.
Yes.
So we really need to do away with them.
There's a report from oxfam.org is the name of the operation. Their report, it's called Confronting Carbon Inequality, and it's based on research conducted with the Stockholm Environment Institute, and it's being released as world leaders prepare to go to the UN General Assembly.
Patrick Rogers just recently sent me pictures of him processing one of his cows. He says, I hope it stays very expensive so all the rich folks like him can eat it. I am happy, I too poor to buy plastic meat. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the synthetic meat, yeah. The richest 10% accounted for over half, 52% of the emissions added to the atmosphere between 1990 and 2015.
Peter Penargus says he has a racetrack, doesn't he? I don't know what kind, like a car racetrack or a horse racetrack, or I don't know.
Well, I know his daughter is into horses, and she jumps, yeah.
Yeah, and he has horses that fart methane. I wonder if he goes out there and catches it in a bag and then breathes it in so it doesn't make it into the air. Bill, that's what you need to do. You need to breathe horse farts, Bill. It'll help.
Yeah, yeah, but did you know that I mean, they make such a big deal about the cow farts. Did you know that termites are produce methane gas?
And how much? Can we equate how much methane gas they make? I mean, do they make more than cows? I wonder.
There's a chart. I'll have to find it. Maybe when we go to the break, I'll find it.
Yeah, we're taking a break right now, actually. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We got lots to talk about. We're going to talk about the whole transgender manifesto today. I have a theory about it. You're watching and listening to Casual Friday here on Superhuman Radio. And please feel free to comment, ask questions on Facebook or YouTube. We'll work them into the discussion. Stay tuned. We will be right back. Do you remember those delicious toaster pastries you had when you were a kid? You know, the rectangular sugar-filled snacks? Well, guess what? Legendary Foods has just made low-carb toaster pastry. This is the first of its kind, and honestly, these things are amazing. They have 3 to 4 net carb, less than 1 gram of sugar, and 9 grams of protein. You can eat them right out of the wrapper or lightly toast them. The only question is, which flavor, strawberry or brown sugar cinnamon? They're available at eatlegendary.com and Amazon. Whether your goal is to build muscle or burn fat, you'll find everything you need at Redcon One. Need help getting a good night's sleep? Try Fade Out, or the most popular pre-workout supplement on the market today, Total War. Sign up for their new Transformation Challenge and win $10,000. Or shop for apparel that people at the gym will know that you are serious about your training. Need a testosterone booster that works? Check out Boomstick. Whatever you need, you'll find the best quality supplements on the market at Redcon One. Go to redcon1.com. That's REDCON, the number 1.com, or go to superhumanradio.net and click the Redcon One banner ad today. P3OM uses a patented natural process to upgrade a well-researched probiotic strain that doubles every 20 minutes once inside your body. The patent proves this strain is proteolytic, meaning it digests protein. It's antiviral, antiretroviral. It eliminates pathogens and waste and is maintainable in the human digestive system. What it does better than any other strain is fight the bad guys, bugs like parasites, viruses, and other pathogens in your gut, and it doesn't require refrigeration. If you suffer from bloating, gas, indigestion, or you just need extra protection from viruses, aka bad bacteria, then I'd suggest trying this super single strain probiotic proven to wipe out bad bacteria. Go to bioptimizers.com/SHR to get a 10% discount coupon with code SHR10 and free shipping on all products. Or save even bigger by signing up to one of the plans to get as much as 38% off. That's bioptimizers.com/SHR. Correlation.
Spit that out right now. This is the Superhuman Channel.
Welcome back. Did you hear the secret word? If you fast forwarded through the last break, now you got to go back and listen to the whole thing. You can win a box of tasty pastries. Just email the secret word to onair@superhumanradio.net. Okay, so I had a friend ask me, do you think this whole transgender thing is like new, or was it always like this and we just never heard about it? And I have a theory. We're going to talk about everything that's going on in the world of gender right now. But I have a theory. So what do you want to talk about first?
Well, I just want to finish up with the last story in that that cattle are not the only ones that produce methane gases. Deer, sheep, goats, camels, pigs, bison or buffalo, horses, mules, they all are producing, termites even. So why is it that we only hear about the cattle?
That should make you suspicious. Yes. What's really going on here? Do they understand something, that meat is actually good for us and they don't want us to eat anymore? Because folks.
And why is it that the poor countries, he said, can still eat meat, just not the rich countries? Yeah. Why?
Because in his mind, it's better for the planet. I don't know. You can't take much of what Bill Gates says seriously. Now, first of all, I've heard that he has Parkinson's disease. Not to point out anything about the disease, and I'm not trying to be mean, but like good 80% of the people who have Parkinson's disease have delusions. They have dementia. You know, we're taking advice from this guy because he's got a bunch of money. So we figure, he must know something. He very well just could be a nut.
But what makes him an authority?
That's my point. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing at all.
Okay, so the most ridiculous story of the day is that they're going to drop Mr. Potato Head to take the Mr. from the Potato Head.
Potato Head. So this is very fascinating to me. This whole new gender neutral thing is like, I heard Coca-Cola. Oh, no, that was a different story. So the whole gender neutrality thing is taking some stupid turns now. Mr. Potato Head has always been called Mr. Potato Head. Some people find it
for 70 years. 70 years.
And it'll just be called Potato Head. So it could be any kind of potato head. He, she, lesbian, gay, I mean, whatever you want it to be. And this is really getting to the point where we're arguing about minutia, and it's stupid.
So according to Hasbro, they announced that it would drop the Mr. from the brand's name in order to be more inclusive, so all could feel welcome to the potato head world.
So everybody can feel like a potato head. I mean, I'm a girl. I can't be a potato head because
there is a Mrs. Potato Head too.
I know.
It also said it would sell a new play set this fall without the Mr. and the Mrs. designations, so that all kids can create their own type of potato family, including 2 moms and 2 dads.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't have a problem with that, but go ahead.
Well, you can do it now.
I know.
You can buy 2 Mrs. Potato Heads and say, these are your 2 moms. You could buy 2 Mr. Potato Heads and say, these are your 2 dads. This idea that we're going to erase gender, folks, it's a distraction. They've got us fighting over stupid stuff. It's like stuff that's so clear to 99% of the population, but they have us fighting over to divide us. That's what this is all about. But okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. Let's talk about women's sports.
Okay.
Women tend to vote Democrat more often than men. And that's because they feel that the Democrat Party is a sensitive, intelligent, super wise party that puts people ahead of policies and money. But I don't think any woman in her good conscience can think what's being done to women's sports right now is anything near fair. So you have men who couldn't win as men, and now they just say, I'm not a man anymore. I'm a woman. Do they need transgender? They need surgery? No. Some of them are pre-op, quote unquote, transgender, which is like, I still got the beans and weenie, but I am a woman. And you must just respect that. And you must treat me like a woman. And you must let me compete against other women. And these men, and they are men, because they're born with all the male components, X, Y, blah, 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 chromosomes, testosterone. They are bigger. They are stronger. They have more bone mass. They are killing women, near kill. Look at this story here. Talk about this story about this guy who's now fighting in the UFC as a woman.
Oh, well, he's retired now, I'm sorry, she's retired now. Sorry about that. Fallon Fox is her name. She broke the skull of two of her opponents. Now, broke the skull. And while she was fighting in the MMA, they did not know that she was a transgender.
So she kept it hidden on top of everything else?
She kept it hidden on top of everything else. And then she finally came out, but that was only after she broke the skull of two of her opponents. And so now Ronda Rousey, yeah. she refuses to fight Fallon Fox.
I don't blame her. She's fighting a guy. This is, folks, if you're comfortable with this, there is really something wrong with you. If you think that it's okay for a guy to decide to change his sex and get into the ring with biologically born and raised women, there's something wrong with you. I hope one of your children ends up in a fight with somebody like that. I hope your daughter ends up in a fight with a guy who now calls himself a girl and pummels the crap out of her. So you could see what the real inequality is here. And then on top of that, the media gives Fallon the bravest athlete award in 2020 for coming out. Give me a fucking break.
So I guess the trans advocates and the medical professionals have pointed out that trans female athletes who undergo hormone treatment face a disadvantage in bone strength and muscle density. I mean, that's not true, is it?
Well, you can't make that muscle and strength go away just by changing their hormones.
Well, and then what about the testosterone levels? Because they say that they have to have a lower testosterone level than a regular man.
Well, but big deal, 200. There's a lot of guys out there today who their testosterone levels are in the 400s, and anything 200 or below is considered female. It's a very, very narrow gap there.
And don't you still have more strength? I mean,
absolutely. Look, you can't tell me that a biological man, regardless of hormone replacement therapy and whether or not he had his beanie weenies whacked off or not, doesn't still have stronger muscles, larger and heavier bones, more aggression than a woman who was born a woman and remained a woman. Come on. This is, and the fact that we're talking about this just shows how effective our government is at distracting us. Go look over there. Oh, girls are beating up, boys are beating up girls. Go look over there. Go fight over that. While we do this stuff over here to destroy the country. Gas prices are now up like 60, 70 cents a gallon in just a couple months. Everybody's busy fighting over transgenders. F the transgenders. You want to do something for the transgenders? Create a transgender league in the MMA. Let guys who now are women fight guys who are now women. Let them fight them.
Well, for this Fallon Fox to be competing in the MMA and break the skull of two different opponents without them knowing that he was originally a man.
Well, and everybody that fought him said, I knew it. Like this.
He had more power, or she had more power than anything they had ever seen.
That hit harder than anybody I've ever been. Yeah, sure, because you never were in the ring with the man before.
Yeah. Well, and for me, I read an article about a guy who was living in London as a woman and then went back to Ireland as a man and got in trouble in a bar fight. And he used the excuse that he still was a woman from London, felt like a woman from London when he went to court. I mean, you can use this excuse like that. I know someone who has a fake ID, and just to be able to get into a bar, they say, well, I'm a transgender.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's really funny? Gender dysmorphia is in the DSM. It's in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual as a mental illness. So
really?
what we have here is mentally ill people who really need psychological help and not to have their gender change. And now I want to talk about the Rachel Levine, the woman that is being positioned for our health department here in the United States. I don't have a picture of her, but many of you have probably seen it. But Rachel Levine was a man, Richard Levine, always knew deep down inside he was a woman, had the sex change, drugs, and surgery, and now lives as a woman who will be up there making policy about how transgenders have access to sex change operations and drugs as early as 3 years old.
3 years old. How does a child at 3 years old know to make a decision like that?
Children, minors can't make these decisions on their own. But what she is proposing is that this is the nuances of transgenderism are very unique, and we have to talk to the person and understand you know what? A 3-year-old wants to be Superman, but at 18 realizes that he can't do it. This is crazy. We are really living the movie Idiocracy today. We have crazy, stupid people making policy that's going to affect our children. Well,
didn't you tell me that Richard Levine's now, what's her name?
Rachel Levine is a lesbian on top
and
of it.
She's a lesbian. She lives with a woman.
Think about this. Born a man, has the sex change, becomes a woman, and gets married to another woman. Like, you can't make this sounds like the punchline of a joke, people. It sounds like the punchline of a joke. If this person gets confirmed, you may not have to say so. Your child at 8 years old may say, Mommy, I want to be a woman. Deep down inside, I know I want to be a woman. And you may say, no, we're not going to do that. And the government will override and allow your child at that age to make a decision that will last the rest of its life.
Well, if a child really feels that way, why not let them wait till they're 18?
And there's cases of this. There are cases where people made the change and then realized it was a big mistake, but now they're stuck in that limbo world for the rest of their lives. There are lots of people who've come out and said, this is not a good idea. Children can't make those decisions. Look, would you let your child make a decision, I don't know, to buy a car at 8 years old, to start taking a drug? What? Go ahead. Give me an example.
At 3 years old. No, I was going to say, so I've also heard of a couple celebrities who have come out and said that we shouldn't have gender reveal parties because the reveal parties aren't really, they could, even if they're born a male, they could become a female. So gender reveal parties are useless.
I mean, if this doesn't make you crazy, I don't know. Here's another example of women's sports. This guy,
Gavin Hubbard from
is now
New Zealand,
as a woman in power and Olympic lifting.
Yeah, out of New Zealand, and yeah, and they're having the same problem in New Zealand that they're having in the U.S. as well.
This is intolerable, and the politicians that are making this happen today really need to be voted out of office. If our vote even counts anymore, which is another story entirely. I'm not going to get into.
So, according to the committee in New Zealand, a transgender woman must prove that his total testosterone level in serum has been below 10 nanomoles per liter for at least 12 months prior to his first competition.
That doesn't mean anything. They still have more musculature. Testosterone is not all that creates strength. There's a lot of really strong people, strong guys, whose testosterone is in the tank. I've worked with some of them. Testosterone isn't the only thing here. There are genetic change differences between men and women. And if we don't want to acknowledge that, then, what happened to the people who were like, believe the science? Oh, just not this science, but all the other science. But no, not the whole DNA, genetic, man-woman thing. Let's not believe that science.
Well, let me ask you a question, and I'm just wondering here. I didn't read anything. Do you think this has anything to do with, because it really doesn't affect men's sports, it really just affects women's sports?
No. Look, here's what's going on right now. I'm going to say something now, and I'm going to watch to see how many listeners we lose. The government is using things to separate us because a house divided will fall. They're using race. They're using the whole LBGT thing because they want to divide the country. They want us to fight amongst ourselves. This idea that the United States is a racist country is bullshit. Obama wouldn't win without the white vote twice. Come on. Rappers wouldn't be billionaires without white people buying their music. Come on. Like, how can you be railroaded by this fucking false message and stand with it unless you're a complete idiot? Now, you can leave now if I insulted you. But this is just another chapter in the book of divide the nation. Let's get people to fight over let's make the LBGT our new racism card. And let's separate the nation with that. Let's let women fight men, get this shit kicked out of them, and then let's say it's okay. And then people will fight about that. Meanwhile, I just sold the Statue of Liberty to China. That's what's going on, folks. If you don't realize it, I feel sorry for you. I really, really do.
What was it that you said the other day, Carl, about the hormones that the men have to take to become women? Doesn't it weaken their heart?
Well, okay, so female bodybuilders who run supraphysiological levels of testosterone for long periods of time, and I'm talking about testosterone like men run, they end up usually dying of a heart attack. And high estrogen in a biological man will destroy your heart over time. So yes, these drugs that they're using to give people a sex change, a new look on life. Oh, I feel good. I'm a woman now. That's just going to kill you. But that's okay. The FDA just said that compounding pharmacies can't make and sell thymosin alpha-1 anymore because it's effective against COVID and they don't want people buying it.
Are you kidding me?
Where to go? I just posted it on my Facebook wall yesterday.
I saw it, but I didn't read it yet.
Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, no. Get the vaccine. The vaccine's okay. It has all sorts of side effects. Get that. But don't use thymosin alpha-1, a naturally occurring peptide in your body produced by your thymus gland, because it's effective at protecting you from COVID. Like, folks, if you don't see what's going on, man, you are exactly who they want to step into that boot and pull that lever to vote for them.
So this is true. Most of the rapper fan bases are white suburban kids. I'm one of them.
Yes.
Tim says.
Yes. Tim Profumo says. Hey, I know that last name.
Hi, Tim.
No, it's the God's honest truth. It's the God's honest truth. There's no racism in America. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are people who hate, but I know a lot of black people who hate white people. Why don't we ever talk about that racism? Oh, no, because that won't get any votes for you. That's why. Yeah, but the real systemic racism, it doesn't exist. Obama's not president two 4-year terms in a row, unless a whole friggin' lot of white people voted for him. So anyway, man.
In South Carolina, there could be a ban on transgender athletes from women's sports.
Good, thank you, South Carolina, sensible state.
So they're voting. They were going to vote on it. They took up the Save the Women's Sports Act on Tuesday morning of this past week.
Thank you.
Right now, they don't have a documented state policy, so this could be new. So let's see what happens there. We'll have to stay tuned for that.
We have to take a quick commercial break. What are we going to talk about when we come back?
We will talk about some nutritional. They're not idiocies. There's some good nutritional information.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay with us. Please feel free to comment. I didn't lose any listeners.
And we do have some listener questions and comments that we need to get to before the end of the show.
And we will. Today, the show is going to end right at 2:30 sharp because I have a phone call right after it. But we will get to everybody's questions. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Superhuman Radio. The power of light can be truly life-changing and an important element for every superhuman. Because of this, I want you to experience the power of award-winning Saluma light therapy. Saluma utilizes NASA research technology to improve health at the cellular level and is cleared by the FDA to effectively treat a variety of pain, muscle and joint conditions, as well as facial wrinkles and acne. Our entire team here at Superhuman Radio uses it. Its innovative shape-taking design allows for easy placement anywhere on the body. Choose from 13 different models. For an exclusive listener discount, go to shrnetwork.biz/Saluma. That's CELLUMA. And use code SHR10 to save 10% off of one of these award-winning devices. TaylorMade Health is focused on making sure you're able to perform and look your best. They are a leader in game-changing supplements and cosmetic products. Whether you want to increase strength, expedite recovery, facilitate soft tissue repair, or reduce deep wrinkles, TaylorMade Health has you covered. TaylorMade Health is also the home to Dr. Seed's products such as BPC, BPC Plus, and the Chill Pill. All of my listeners can now get 20% off their first order with code TRY20. That's TRY20. This code can even be used on subscription orders. Visit shrnetwork.biz/TRY20 today and use code TRY20 for 20% off your first order. Correlation. Getting a massage post-workout is a proven strategy to facilitate better recovery. Getting to massage therapists can be difficult and expensive, especially in these times. The solution is the Meteor, a heated massage ball from Milestorm. Reduce pain and soreness and expedite recovery with the Meteor's research-backed vibration settings and therapeutic heat. It's convenient for travel and works on any body part. Go to shrnetwork.biz/Meteor and use code SHR15 for 15% off and free shipping if you buy 2 or more. Start recovering better today. Whether your goal is to build muscle or burn fat, you'll find everything you need at Redcon One. Need help getting a good night's sleep? Try Fade Out, or the most popular pre-workout supplement on the market today, Total War. Sign up for their new Transformation Challenge and win $10,000, or shop for apparel that people at the gym will know that you are serious about your training. Need a testosterone booster that works? Check out Boomstick. Whatever you need, you'll find the best quality supplements on the market at Redcon One. Go to redcon1.com. That's REDCON1.com, or go to superhumanradio.net and click the Redcon One banner ad today.
Move over, superheroes. This is the Superhuman Channel.
Welcome back.
I made it back in time.
Where'd you go?
To the ladies' room. There was a meeting in the ladies' room.
I'm just going to start saying that. There's a meeting. Now we're dating ourselves because that was a very hot disco song back in the late 70s, early 80s, right? Was it in the 80s?
It was in the 80s, yeah. That is dating us. Yeah. Oh, so, well, we are not spring chickens any longer.
No, you and I, or just you? You're doing great. What are you talking about? Before, when you said you've never won anything, I almost said, what are you talking about? You won the genetic lottery.
That is probably true.
You have won the genetic lottery. People don't understand how well you're aging, and it's not just your genetics, but you understand your genetics well enough to only eat the things that you do well with.
It was so shocking to me when I had my genetic 23andMe done, and then my functional medicine doctor, he went through everything with me, and we talked about. There were just things on my genetics that I don't process caffeine right. My body doesn't process caffeine, and it showed up in my genes, but I knew that already. And just some of the things that showed up on my test results that I instinctively knew, it was shocking to me.
I think one of the biggest things that's attributed to your fantastic aging is the fact that you've never been a big animal flesh eater, and so you've never had to deal with iron accumulation in your body. And in fact, when you were young, you couldn't donate blood because they said your red blood was too low, right? Your iron was too low.
Correct.
So I actually think that served you. you particularly. Maybe it doesn't work for everybody, but I think that served you very, very well. All right, let's go. So Len Moskowitz, friend of the show, when Lincoln said a house divided cannot stand, he wasn't trying to create unity. He was telling the South to go get screwed and that he wasn't going to consider their views.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool. I think we need that today. We need a way to tell the government to go get screwed. We don't like the way you're running the business anymore. We need that.
Okay, so when you think about nutrients work in pairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or they work in combination.
Yes, they work in combination.
And so a lot of times we don't think in that regard. We think, oh, well, I'm going to go take my zinc today, or I'm going to go take my vitamin C. But in reality, sometimes you need to think about taking a couple things together to get the fullest benefit from that, be it a vitamin or a mineral, amino acids. So vitamin B12 and folate. Vitamin B12 helps the body absorb folate.
Right.
And the two work together to support cell division and replication, which allows the body to replace cells that die. And by the way, if you're taking B12, you want to take the methylcobalamin form. So good sources are meat, eggs, milk. Natural sources of folate are leafy greens, beans, and legumes. I know you're not a big beans guy.
Oh, I've been falling in love with chili lately. You know that. I think, a pound of red meat and some beans and a little bit of tomato sauce is actually pretty good.
So what do you think about the combination of B12 and folate?
I think it's important. And if anything, it shows that we should be eating. So you say there's no B6 in meat at all?
No, they're just saying that the B12 helps your body to absorb the folate.
But you said the folate comes from leafy greens and stuff like that. There's no folate in animal protein?
According to this, it's the beast meat. We all know that B12 meat's a big source of B12.
Right. And most vegans are low on B12 because you can't get any in a plant source.
Right.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I think it is important. It's, okay, so just this morning I was listening to a video someone sent me, and it opened up with a commercial. And the commercial was about how important turmeric is for anti-aging. And I've grown tired of this monoculture approach to health and aging, because I've been doing this show now for going on 16 years, and I realized that acting like this is all you need, or that's all you need, or this is the answer for you, or that's the answer for you, is an insult to the complexity of the human body.
And then plus everybody's different too. What you need is not what I need.
Exactly. There's some of us who are actually allergic to turmeric. And when we use it, we belch and we burp and we don't feel good and we feel warm and itchy and tingly and like
you fart.
I've been farting a lot lately. Lisa's playing games with me. And so it's like every time I'm around her, one sneaks out. She's like, "Did you just fart?" And of course I lie. No man in his right mind would say, "Yeah, I just farted." I'm like, "No, my shoe." When I try to come up with something that sounds like the sound of me farting.
Oops.
Too much truth. Okay, but the reality is that we shouldn't be talking about like this. There's people out there. Oh, magnesium. You need a lot of magnesium. Well, if you take magnesium and not potassium and not some calcium and not some sodium and not some phosphorus, and everything gets whacked out. So we have to outgrow this single this idea that one single thing is all we need, because you may take that one single thing and disrupt a whole bunch of other things.
So what about the person who says you don't need supplements? You get it all from your diet.
Well, I would challenge them. If you are one of these people who says, I don't need supplements, I'm getting everything I need from my diet, then I would challenge you to go to the USDA food database. And here's what I would challenge you to do. Take a picture of every meal. You sit down and eat. Oh, take my camera. Poop, just take a picture of it. And do that for a week. And then go to the food database and see what's in that meal you just had. and then maybe open up a spreadsheet like Excel and start plugging the numbers in. And then look at the end of the week. Did you really get all the B12 you needed? Did you really get? I think you're going to find out no. I think you're going to find out no. I don't think nutrient deficiencies didn't exist 1,000, 5,000, 500,000 years ago. I think nutrient deficiencies have existed since the beginning of human existence. And so, okay, our ancestors didn't have a B12 tablet, but maybe they had a B12 deficiency that ended up ending their lives 5 years sooner than they needed to. So the idea that, because it didn't happen back then, they didn't have these supplements back then, I'm not going to. Nutrient deficiencies are real. They lead to disease states, but they do it slowly. It's not like one morning you wake up and you go, wow, what I ate yesterday sucks because, I don't feel. It's a slow erosion of health over decades. So I think you do need supplements. Abso-effing-lutely. But if you're one of these people who's convinced that what you're eating is all you need, then analyze your diet and see. And I believe you'll shocked. You'll be like, wow, I'm not getting any of this. I'm not getting any of that. And if you think it's important, what are you going to do? You're going to try to find more food to eat, or you're just going to supplement?
And you don't know until you get tested. How do you know if your vitamin D levels are where they should be?
Yeah, exactly. That's a big one because people are afraid of the sun. Just use Chronometer app and log your nutrients. That's a pain in the ass. I get it. You're right, Crisis. But at least just take pictures to start out with. The USDA food database is probably using Chronometer. All of these apps are using the USDA food database. They all, because the USDA food will give you their database in a MySQL or a comma delimited format, so you can use it on your website. But yeah, if that's easier, but just take the pictures and then use an app and plug the numbers in, and you're going to be shocked that you're not getting a lot of things that you think you're getting. Yeah. So FDA numbers are also what you need to be deficient, not to be deficient, right? But not the correct levels of high performance.
High performance. That's a good point.
Yeah. Oh, he meant USDA. Yeah. Okay, Len, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's like that. Like when the USDA came up with 60 milligrams for vitamin C. You know how they did that? They took female rodents that were pregnant with a fetus, and they kept backing down their vitamin C in their food until they reabsorbed the fetus. It's kind of like nature's way of saying, yeah, no, you can't have kids right now because you can't even feed yourself. And when they got to that number, they said, that's the minimum people need. And that's what the USDA or RDA, daily requirement is derived from. Not the amount that you need to be healthy and strong, the amount that you need not to become deathly ill. You become a little ill, but not deathly ill.
Well, don't they recommend 400 IUs of vitamin D a day?
Yeah. And you produce tens of thousands of IUs of vitamin D just laying in the sun.
I know, it's ridiculous. Look, ridiculous daily allowance.
Yeah, exactly.
The RDA.
Exactly.
So sodium and potassium together. Potassium encourages the kidneys to excrete sodium. So many studies have shown a connection between high potassium intake and a lower, healthier blood pressure. So according to the guidelines, adults are supposed to get 4,700 milligrams of potassium and 12 to 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day.
And that's nothing. That's nothing. I mean, if you sweat at all, that's nothing.
Right. With the standard American diet also, they're getting way too much sodium and not enough potassium.
And calcium's another one, right? So people are like, oh, we got to take 1,000 milligrams of calcium a day. How do you know? Have you ever looked at how much calcium you're getting from your diet? If we know anything about what Americans are eating, the majority of their diet is dairy.
So they're getting a lot of calcium, but not enough vitamin D.
Yes, because they're not going out in the sun. They could be getting 3,000 milligrams of calcium a day, and then some doctor says, well, you're 75 years old, you need to take 1,000 milligrams. How do you know, doc? We know that people who were given calcium supplements a decade ago, just because that was the new thing, will take calcium, all ended up with heart problems, and it spurred more heart attacks. Then doctors say, oh, you shouldn't take calcium. Yeah, you shouldn't take calcium unless you think you need it.
Well, so here it says calcium is important because it strengthens bones, but the body needs vitamin D's assistance to absorb calcium.
Right.
Vitamin, it also has many other benefits, and we all know that. So you have to have vitamin D to absorb the calcium. What happens to the calcium if you don't have the D and you're still taking in the calcium?
That's the problem. It stays in the blood, and calcium is an excitatory mineral. You know, it excites the brain. It excites muscle tissue. It's kind of like abrasive and coarse to the body, and it's very, very excitatory, and that's exactly right. Oh, look who we have here from Colombia. Danny, it's not letting your name come through for some reason. This is Danny Okendo. I can't get his whole name out, but this is Danny from Colombia, and he says, multi-enzyme digestive tabs seem to help assure we get the most out of what we eat too. Help my grandma's hair fill back in on her head. Oh, Aiden Ray said that. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, a lot of people have digestive issues and they're not absorbing what they eat. That's another good point. Thank you.
That is a good point. And so here's one combination that I think you'll find interesting is niacin and tryptophan. So
I would have thought you were going to say niacin and acetol.
Niacin deficiency causes pellagra, a disease that causes a bad rash, diarrhea, and dementia. Mm-hmm. That's interesting, dementia.
Yeah.
Tryptophan, an amino acid, is a source of niacin. Did you know that?
No.
Tryptophan is an amino acid and is a source of niacin. So one way to avoid niacin shortfalls is to eat foods that contain a lot of tryptophan, including chicken and turkey. Yeah. That's interesting. So did you learn something new today?
I did. I need to eat more turkey. I hate turkey. It's so dry and plain. Yeah.
It's dry. It needs estrogen.
It needs estrogen. We have to take a quick commercial break. This is our last break, and then we've got plenty of time to finish up with the show.
We'll do some listener questions. Yeah. We've got a few of those.
Okay, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Casual Friday with the lovely and talented Alisa Profumo, bringing the soft, enjoyable voice to my coarse, brash attitude. We'll be right back. The power of light can be truly life-changing and an important element for every superhuman. Because of this, I want you to experience the power of award-winning Celluma light therapy. Celluma utilizes NASA research technology to improve health at the cellular level and is cleared by the FDA to effectively treat a variety of pain, muscle and joint conditions, as well as facial wrinkles and acne. Our entire team here at Superhuman Radio uses it. Its innovative shape-taking design allows for easy placement anywhere on the body. Choose from 13 different models. For an exclusive listener discount, go to shrnetwork.biz/Celluma. That's CELLUMA, and use code SHR10 to save 10% off of one of these award-winning devices. Folks, I'm pleased to announce that Pure Nootropics is now carrying the antioxidant alpha-lipoic acid in its bioidentical natural form as R-Ala. R-Ala provides protection in many areas and has even been shown to promote weight loss. Check out the interview I did on episode 2608 back in October to learn more. Our friends at Pure Nootropics have been bringing you great products and deals since 2013, and they have another one with R-Ala. Go to shrnetwork.biz/pure and use code SHR30 for a whopping 30% off. Level up. Go Pure. Are you ready to change the way you age? Of course you are. That's why you're here. Juvicel is a new first-of-its-kind dietary supplement that includes 10 key research-backed ingredients shown in studies to support lifespan. Things like resveratrol, fisetin, quercetin, pterostilbene, sulforaphane, turmeric, all in a single dose. You may have some of these ingredients already, but Juvicel is the first to combine them all into a single product to support your lifespan. It's vegan, non-GMO, and sustainable. Live better longer with Juvicel. well. Go to shrnetwork.biz/live better. Use code SHR and save 20% off today.
New Mass Pro Synthogen X2 just upped its own legendary game. To distance itself even further from the rest of the pack, Synthogen X2 now has double the key active ingredients. If you've ever wondered what steroid-like recovery feels like, Synthogen X2 delivers. See why others compare it favorably to powerful bodybuilding drugs at synthogen.com. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. Don't hate us because we feel good.
Sorry, I forgot what I was doing here. I forgot I was actually producing the show. I was waiting for someone to turn my camera back on. This is Friday. We have to talk about one thing that was important to us before we move on to listener questions and comments. We have plenty of
right, because I wanted to also talk about long COVID too, real quick.
Okay, so let's do long COVID, then let's talk about eggs and Vince Gironda, and then we'll take some comments and questions.
Okay, so long COVID, I didn't know was a thing. Jack Yee sent me an article about Gwyneth Paltrow and how she had long COVID, or she had COVID early on, and now she's experiencing long COVID. So it's left her with fatigue and brain fog and issues. I don't think that Gwyneth Paltrow is the healthiest person. I think she has autoimmune.
I was going to say we've talked about Gwyneth on this show for
years.
I mean, I'm sure she's a wonderful human being, but she is so friggin' misguided about what is healthy for women to do. I mean, she's a proponent of steaming your vagina, but not lifting anything heavier than a 2 or 3 pound weight. She suffered from hairline fractures in various bones in her body because she's already got osteopenia.
At a very young age. What is she?
Her immune system has to be whacked on top of everything else because I'm sure she's like a quasi-vegan. Oh, don't eat meat.
Oh, she doesn't. Yeah, right. So I guess now she's seeing a functional medicine doctor, which it's good. We should all be seeing functional medicine doctors. But he's got her using butyrate is one of the things that he has her using. And I know a lot in the functional medicine community do feel like butyrate helps with the COVID symptoms and of warding off COVID.
You could do the same thing by just eating an ultra low carbohydrate diet, but that's not as cool as taking butyrate. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, butyrate is so expensive. What about just using exogenous ketone salts?
Well, okay, that's butyrate too. That's butyrate attached to a mineral.
Right.
What you're talking about is ketone esters.
Ketone esters, right, right.
Yeah, $100 for 3 little bottles. I mean, I get it. It's really great, but not all of us can afford that. Maybe Bill Gates, when he's making, he can wash his synthetic meat down with some ketone esters.
So she's doing a keto and plant-based diet, but she's also having fish and a few other meats, and she's starting to incorporate intermittent fasting. She's not eating until 11 a.m. That's what we do. That's what we do.
So maybe she'll end up starting to listen to our show since we talked about her for almost a decade and the stupid stuff she's done to try to stay healthy. Maybe she'll come to our crowd eventually and figure things out. That'll be fine.
So long COVID is basically, here are some of the symptoms of long COVID, long-term symptoms. Once you have COVID, they take a while to go away. Chronic tiredness, breathlessness, raised heart rate, delusions, strokes, insomnia, loss of taste and smell, kidney disease, mobility issues, headaches, muscle pains, and fevers. I think if you have long COVID and your body can't recuperate from COVID, I don't know. I didn't have COVID, but it seems like you probably had some underlying issues.
Yeah. I mean, look, long COVID just means that you weren't weak enough to die from it, but you're not strong enough to get better from it. You're kind of stuck in, it's called COVID purgatory. For those of us Catholics out there, like it's not heaven, it's not hell. It's where unbaptized babies and dogs are supposed to go. It's like in between heaven and hell. So if COVID doesn't kill you because you're strong enough not to be killed by it, but you're not strong enough to get better from it, then you just kind of have long-term COVID. You're going to have COVID for a few years maybe or something. That's all it is.
So what I find interesting about the eggs and Vince Duranda eating 36 eggs a day, look at how great he looks, right?
Yeah.
He ate, was it 35 or 36
36.
eggs?
36.
36 eggs a
Three
day.
dozen eggs a day. And he drank raw unpasteurized milk. He drank raw cream. I mean, all the things that we're told are dangerous for us. Eggs are dangerous. Don't drink raw milk. Now they want to take red meat away from us. Folks, are you really woke? Are you really woke? I don't think so.
Well, my problem is you see all these studies. Oh, if you eat 3 eggs a day, it's going to cause cardiovascular disease. And you know, Vince Duranda is a perfect example. Look at this guy.
Yeah, and he lived a long life. He lived a long life disease-free. I did hear that in his later years, he started to fall in love with good Italian red wine. But I think that when we get older, wine actually kind of eases the pain that you're not young anymore. It's not about, it's like anesthetizes you. So I understand why he probably did that. But the guy was, all the Hollywood studios used to send their stars to him when they had to get ready for a role.
Right. I'm just reading to see. Yeah. So, I mean, there's so much evidence that eggs are so good for you. Also, the one that we were going to talk about is the dogs eating eggs.
My father always used to give our dogs eggs, raw eggs, and they had the best coats in the world. And just recently, Dr. Karen Becker and Rodney Habib from Planet Paws did a special on Instagram, because there are websites out there saying that it's dangerous to give your dog raw eggs, that it make them sick. Who's telling that to the wolves that are raiding hen houses? Who's telling that to the foxes that are raiding hen houses and eating the eggs? Who's telling that to all the wild animals that aren't dying from eating raw eggs? This is where critical thinking departs and people are stupid. It's why we are where we are today. Come on. Dogs have been eating raw eggs for a friggin' billion years. Now, all of a sudden, oh, no, they're no good for dogs. Don't give them to your dog. Feed him this kibble that'll destroy his kidneys and give him cancer and diabetes over time. That's what you should do.
So I'm reading this article in Southern Living, and it says 1 egg a week for a small-sized dog, while 2 eggs a week for a medium-sized dog, and 3 eggs for a large to extra large sized dog.
No. Now, go back to what I just said. So I can see the farmer. The wolf is coming over to the hen house. Hey, didn't you have an egg already? No, you can't have one. Send the other guy who has an egg. Come on, stop this nonsense. When we get involved with telling animals how they should eat, they get sick, they die, they get all the same diseases humans get. The friggin' bear in the San Diego Zoo had heart failure. Why? They were feeding him Purina bear chow. That's why. Let the animals can eat all the eggs they want.
I didn't hear that one about the bear.
Years ago. I talked about it probably 7-8 years ago. When we feed animals what we think nutrition is, they get sick. But nobody's telling the wild dogs, oh, don't eat that chicken. You'll get a bone stuck in your throat. Nah, they digest the bone fine and everything else with it. Yeah, it's nonsense. Nonsense. We have a couple comments we have to get to here. Do you have anything else? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, the only thing I wanted to discuss really quick, Nick Guggs sent me an article about hand sanitizer recall. So I think that might be important to touch on.
Talk about it.
Well, it was there. It was being shipped from or sent over from Mexico, and it was methanol that was being used instead of ethanol.
And methanol is poisonous to humans.
Yes. So it was a Belluma was the name of, I can't find the article. Belluma was the name of the brand. There were several brands, but the main one was Belluma. So just be careful to make sure you're getting your hand sanitizers from a good source. And people were drinking it. Like, I guess they
ethanol.
think that they're drinking it, and it's the ones who were drinking it, it was killing them.
Yeah, I believe it. So this is a friend of yours, actually, Cynthia Burke.
Oh, hi, Cynthia.
She says, years ago, I thought I would stop taking vitamin D because I was laying in the sun that summer. By the end of August, my vitamin D levels had dropped to 21. I've read that if you are dark-skinned, the sun has a harder time penetrating the skin. I also wonder if the sunscreen prevents the body from absorbing vitamin D. It prevents the body from making vitamin D. That's why dermatologists are helping kill people like telling you to go everywhere with sunscreen on. I just talked about that. I just did Mark Bell's show, and we actually talked about this in one of the things we discussed. Yes, the body regulates how much vitamin D it makes. And if you're dark skinned like we are, we have to lay out in the sun all day, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in a row, because that's our ancestors. They lived under the sun. It was guaranteed that they were going to be under the sun most of the day. And so we produce a lot less vitamin D from sun exposure, and we have a higher level of 25-OHD binding protein. So we have lots of protective mechanisms in place to keep us from making too much vitamin D. The opposite of somebody from Scandinavia with blonde hair and blue eyes, where they can take 1,000 IUs of vitamin D and hit 60 nanogram level, like you have to take 20,000 a day.
Yeah, because Cynthia is darker skinned.
Yeah, so that's part of that conundrum. And yes, it's misguided to use sunscreen if you're worried about skin cancer. Skin cancer doesn't come from the sun; it comes from your diet. Now, every time I say this to people, they look.
People
at me,
think you're crazy.
Yeah, but so then I tell people, hey, are there supplements you can take that protect your skin from DNA damage in the sun? They'll say, oh yeah, astaxanthin and canthaxanthin, they're antioxidants. Now, how do you give those to yourself? Oh, you take them, they're a pill. So you're telling me you put something in your mouth and it gets out into your skin and it protects you from sun damage. Interesting. So what you're telling me is the stuff you eat makes it out into your skin. Interesting. So if there are things that you can eat that protect your skin, what makes you think that there aren't things you're eating that will put your skin at greater risk of getting skin cancer? And when you look at the research from Africans who move to the United States, they get skin cancer when they live here. They don't get skin cancer when they're living 6 inches away from the sun at the equator. When you start connecting the dots, you go, wait a minute. The sun is an unwilling participant in your development of skin cancer. Skin cancer comes from your diet. Fix your diet and you'll never have skin cancer. If you've had skin cancer, you'll have it again if you don't change your diet. It has nothing to do with genetics. And so dermatologists telling people, oh, you got to wear sunblock 24 hours a day, they're just helping you get skin cancer faster, because the 25-hydroxy, the cholecalciferol that's built in your skin, plus the sulfated versions and all the other versions from sun, protect your skin from getting skin cancer. Protect it. So when you take the skin and expose it to the radiation from the sun, but you take away its ability to make D, you're promoting skin cancer. And we have more skin cancer today, and everybody's wearing sunblock. It's just like everybody's wearing masks and the COVID's going up. No one's paying attention anymore. They're all idiots.
I hate wearing a mask. I can't breathe. It makes me anxious.
There was a study done in 2008 that showed that surgical masks, which is what everybody's wearing, surgical masks did not protect surgeons from getting viruses in the OR, and it did not protect doctors in the ER from getting viruses from the people that they were seeing. So in other words, the surgical masks produce no protection. It was done in 2008. You're not allowed to talk about it now, because now in the era of COVID, masks are everything. Masks are everything.
Okay. So I have a question from, maybe not genetics, but look at grandma's cookbook. Yeah,
well, you learn your diet from your grandparent. You don't just get your genetics from your family. You get your dietary habits too. Good. I'm sorry. We're getting close here to the end of the show.
Sorry.
There's something else that you wanted to talk about.
Yes. So we have a question here from Jason Goutreau. He has 2 questions. Years ago, Carl had a guest on from Meridian Valley Labs promoting their whole blood viscosity test.
Right.
He bought it and was off the charts high. He said he implemented regular blood donations, nattokinase supplementation, fish oil, and more recently, white willow bark. And I'm considering a retest to see if I've moved the needle. First question, would long-term use of white willow bark have the same health concerns as aspirin? Any other recommendations for supplements?
Well, yes, it can. And I don't take white willow bark daily, but I do take it 2-3 times a week. And don't forget, a baby aspirin isn't terrible for you. It actually is not only been shown to be cardioprotective, but it actually may protect against cancer because of inflammation. But blood viscosity is tightly tied to hematocrit. If you keep your hematocrit low, your blood viscosity is going to stay low as well. That's why that test hasn't really caught on. A lot of doctors don't order it. If you focus on hematocrit and red blood cell, you automatically change the viscosity of the blood. But just a good fish oil supplement will help you a lot. A lot. I mean, or just eat salmon 3 or 4 times a week.
So when you say fish oil, do you mean the high DHA? Do you mean the high EPA, or does it matter?
I mean the way it came out of the salmon. All these new variations, they're all to produce products to meet specific niches. I mean, like I'd rather see people eat 3 or 4 pieces of salmon a week, but some people won't eat salmon.
So what if you don't eat salmon?
And I would take a fish oil that has not been concentrated for anything that didn't come out of the salmon. I wouldn't use a high EPA. I wouldn't use a high DHA. I wouldn't use an SPM. I'd use a whole fish oil because it's got other stuff in there too. Just because we focus on EPA and DHA, there are other omegas in there that nobody pays attention to. And it may be that those are so powerful that they just need a tiny little bit, and you're not getting it if you're taking some concentrate.
Okay, another subject. Okay, next question. I've spoke to several docs and a few paleo type gurus, and no one has heard of this test and generally discount it on the quackery side. My thought is that I think of it as a legitimate other lab. My thought is that I think if it's a legitimate, other labs would be offering it too. What are your thoughts?
I just answered that. Focus on hematocrit and red blood cell, and your viscosity will change. And that's why I said a second ago, I think the reason that test didn't get popular is if you focus on keeping hematocrit low, you focus on keeping iron low, you focus on keeping red blood cells in a healthy but lower end, where it's not impairing your cardiovascular training or anything like that, you're gonna automatically have thinner blood, more viscous blood. And anything that reduces inflammation makes the blood thinner. Fish oil, if you do take turmeric and curcumin, ginger is powerful, powerful, magical stuff. Everybody should be taking some amount of ginger. I'll tell you, the best thing you can take is Juvicel. It's got everything in there you need, including fisetin.
CoQ10 in there, quercetin.
Everything that's been shown to reduce inflammation and help the body age better.
It even has glucosamine in it.
I want to put this up because this is one of those supplements that people don't think about because it's not sexy. But here, you should take 6 of these a day with whatever else you're taking. It'll help thin your blood. There you go. Juvicel. shrnetwork.biz/live better. Use code SHR. There you go. That's it. There's my gift.
So Casual Friday at superhumanradio.net. If you have questions, email them directly to me. Or you can reach me on Facebook and Instagram. And just by the way, Jason sent an email back telling me that I do a great job with the show. Thank you, Jason.
Oh, of course you do. And look, this is the most listened to podcast. This is the most live watched podcast. Now that we're on, see, I'm looking at all the Facebook pages, YouTube channels, and we get almost 100 people at different points who are watching live. All those together. None of my shows during the week get that. I'm lucky if I get 37, 40 viewers.
Live listeners.
Yeah. Well, I think that everybody comes because of you. I really do.
Oh, no, that's not true.
Oh, so, no, they do. They get me Monday through Thursday. They show up in this number because of you.
Don Blanken sent me an article this week. Thank you, Don. And Carmela has some questions about her estrogen. Oh, thank you too.
We don't have the time. I have to take a hard break at 2:30 because I have to actually be on a sales call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, love it. That's on the Superhuman Radio Network. I wonder.
That must be Natalie.
Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
Natalie makes all our images. Make sure that I have everything I need before the show starts. Now, if I could just figure out how to get Natalie to make Spectrum not to crash my internet before every show, that would be good. All right, that's it for today.
I'm sorry, Carmela. I guess we'll get you on the flip side.
I may actually try to have her endocrinologist on the show to debate another endocrinologist.
Or maybe we can talk to her on the phone or something.
Yeah. All right, look, it's Friday. Go out and have fun, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching and listening, and please share the show. just hit the share button right now on Facebook and share it to your page because people can watch it immediately after it ends. So share the show. That's all I can say. Thank you. Thank you, Alisa, for all the hard work.
Bye. See you guys in a month.
Yeah. See you then.
Bye.